morning, everyone, and welcome to String and Story. My name is HollyAnne and it's my job to guide you to quilt with confidence. I am so excited that you're here with me this morning. It has been a crazy week, a crazy couple of days, and I just can't thank you guys enough for your patience as I had illnesses and internet issues and all this crazy stuff. I know some of you are wondering, for those of you who are wondering, yesterday's live originally got bumped because of this cold that's been just traveling through our family. My poor parents have it now. Mom, Dad, I'm really sorry. Really, really sorry. And so yesterday I wanted to make sure that I could do my live in the afternoon when John could watch the boys, because my mom just kind of needed some rest, and she usually helps me out with the boys while I'm on live. And then our internet went out, which is just all kinds of crazy making. Oi with the poodles already, right guys? But here we are, and you know what? This is really exciting because it's Friday. I have something special to show you guys. I thought I was just gonna be teasing you guys. Hang on, I gotta pull up my comments so I can see who's jumping on. I just saw one of you. Sorry, Hubster changed my password on this new computer, and it's a lot longer, and it takes me a long time to type. And I'm still just kind of getting used to it. All right, refresh. Now I'm just dragging out the suspense. Notice that. Da, 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 da. All right. Da, 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 da. All right, who's here? Karen, Trudy, Katie, Christine, Winifred, Sandy. Okay, and several of your names I recognize from the email I sent out this morning. By the way, if you pre-ordered the Aldebaran quilt pattern, it is in your inbox. I sent it out this morning. The subject of the email is like Aldebaran quilt pattern or something like that. So go, if you don't see it in your inbox, search your email just in case I went to spam or something like that. I know that happened when I sent out the updated Lanterns of Hope pattern. I think I got put in a lot of spam folders. So if you haven't seen it yet, go look and make sure it's there. And if it's not there, email me and I will just send it to you directly. But do search your inbox first to make sure. Hey Amy, hey Di. Yay, Di. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited. So excited. Hey Sue, Sue, long time no see, my dear. I'm so glad you're here. All right, guys, I'm not gonna tease you anymore. I'm gonna, because it is Aldebaran quilt pattern launch day. So you can now officially get the full pattern. Here's my throw version. You can only see part of it, sorry guys. This is the throw version. You can now get the full pattern on my website. So when you order, it's available right away. Some of you have been patiently waiting for a couple of weeks. Let me give you guys a close-up. Hopefully you can see some of the quilting texture I put on this. I quilted this with hot pink thread. And aw, Sue! Da, 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 da. All right, so here's the scoop with this quilt pattern, guys. If you have not ordered it already, you should, because it's a super fun pattern. The Y seams are optional, so if you're looking at it and you're going, those are hexagons, heck to the no, they're optional. You can also assemble this in rows instead of with blocks and Y seams. We're doing a quilt along inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. Many of you are already in that group, and you know that on Friday nights, we do String and Story Social Hour. Yes, we are meeting tonight. I still haven't finished quilting Lanterns of Hope, so we're gonna hang out tonight while I quilt it. Huzzah! So we'll be quilting it together. We'll be piecing and quilting together inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. The piecing will happen over the next month. The quilt along for this will end on October 26th. We'll put our quilt tops together that night. And the next morning, October 27th, on my birthday, ta-da! The rest of the winter hexagon patterns will drop. So this is a little tease for all the winter hexagon patterns that are coming. And if you're looking at it going, this is a little bit more modern than I normally do, that's okay, because the rest of the patterns in this collection are actually fairly traditional, though you know me, I'm making them with like super bright jazzy pattern or jazzy fabrics that don't actually make them look like that traditional. But just to let you know. So if you don't already have this pattern, it's available now. You should go get it. You should quilt along with me inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. We're starting next Friday. And I'm super excited. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Hey Terry! Rhoda, this is 48 by 60, so this is a small throw. It also includes twin size, queen size, and king size. So I will be making, I'm probably gonna make a twin for the quilt along. I wrote the schedule for the quilt along thinking I would make another throw, but I think, I haven't fully decided on my fabrics yet, but I'll show you guys. I think I'm going to use these beauties. So these will be my blocks and these will be my stripes. And I have a lot of fabric here. So I think I might make the twin size during our quilt along. I've got piles of fabric everywhere. So there's 4 sizes in the pattern. Also, inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group, if you're still kind of on the edge, there is a download of the fabric requirements, so you can just kind of take a look at the yardage requirements, and a coloring sheet and the schedule. So you'll need the schedule regardless of whether or not you've already purchased the pattern. If you purchased the pattern before today, the schedule came in your pre-order. If you're purchasing the pattern today, you'll need to also go grab that schedule over on the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. But I'm so pumped about this. Okay, other questions. Good morning, Tina. Lydia, I love your energy and your excitement so much. Hey, Sam. Hey, Lynn. Oh, October, ladies. How exciting. Yes, Rhoda, I answered your question. Sue, 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight, and we're usually on for an hour, hour and a half. It's bring your own snacks, bring your own beverage, adult or otherwise. Yay, Lynn, thank you so much. Aw, thanks, Di. Y'all are so sweet. Hello, Knights, I see you. I guess, Linda, it's probably just you. Is Ken at work? I'm gonna assume so. I'm so glad all of you guys are here. Yay! Okay, so that's the scoop on this. Now I need to hit share. I'm gonna hit share to pop this over to the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. While I am clicking share here, if you will click like and share on your video, so that more people can see the Aldebaran quilt pattern, and so more people, can quilt along with us on my Motivate Shop quilt. Didn't that feel like a magic trick, how I just had one quilt under another? I know. So share this video to your favorite quilting groups, to your page, to your sister's page. Just share it everywhere so that more people can come party with us. This is basically a party invite. So send out your party invites. Hit like, love, whatever. If you've already purchased your pattern, hit share and say, go get this pattern and quilt with me. All right. Da 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 da. Mitzi, it's okay. I've been kind of out of the loop too. This week has been complete chaos. The cold from hell swept through our family. Jim got an ear infection from that raged for like 4 days before we realized he had an ear infection because he never had a fever. And finally he was coughing so bad my mom was like, you should probably just go get him checked because he's not really getting better. And I'm like, no, that's a good point. So he's on antibiotics. Hubster leaves on Sunday and is going to be gone for a week to California. This is my payback for me going to QuiltCon. Not really payback. It's just his turn for a fun work conference. Chaos, chaos, chaos. You're packing your condo so Aldebaran. Trudy, I'm so glad you asked. Aldebaran, I mentioned that this entire pattern collection is called the Winter Hexagon Collection. So there is an asterism, which is a collection of stars. An asterism is an identifiable image in the stars that is not officially registered as a constellation. So it's like a constellation without the paperwork, okay? So the Winter Hexagon asterism shows up in the northern hemisphere during the winter for my Aussie friends down under. It shows up in the summer for you. It's the constellation or the asterism, and there's some formations within the asterism that Moana uses in Moana, which is super fun. And it includes Orion, the star Sirius. There's part of Taurus in it, I believe. And then Aldebaran is actually, if this were the hexagon, it would actually be the star that's on this point, which that's reversed for you guys. It's the right-hand point of the hexagon, even though we put our little Aldebaran bright spot down at the bottom in this quilt. So the rest of the stars in the outline of the asterism itself are kind of regular white or blue stars, but Aldebaran is a red star, so it adds this pop of color to the hexagon. So that's why this is called Aldebaran. All right, hopefully that helped. I know that that's a big, like, funky, hard to remember word. I keep thinking we're probably going to nickname it. I don't know what it's going to get nicknamed yet, but I suspect that that will happen. Little late. That's okay. Denise, that's awesome. Oh, which tutorial? Did you see my Y-seam tutorial? Because I just put up a Y-seam tutorial this morning, guys. Total sidebar. If you just click blog on my website, I put a YouTube tutorial up and it's embedded on the blog. That's why it's easy to get to. stringandstory.com/blog/Y-seams. And I'm super pumped. It's the Y-seams for this. So, okay. Enough about this. We're quilting Flying Geese today, which I'm super pumped about. You can see I still haven't quilted my little skinny border here, which will be okay, because I'm only going to quilt a few of these while we're talking today. Yes, the Y-seam went, oh, Denise, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. You might be the first person to watch it, or nearly the first person to watch it. So thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. I was up really late working on that tutorial, but I think it was worth it. I really like how it turned out. I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of playing with iMovie. Alright, today, if you are new with these videos, we are quilting our Moda Bake Shop Choose Your Own Adventure Summer Quilt Along Quilt, such a mouthful, which I have nicknamed the Quilt Your Own Adventure series, and we're talking all about quilting traditional blocks. So you can see we've already done this center star over here, and then we did 9 patches and 4 patches if you look on the blog. Last week, granny squares, we've done skinny sashings and borders, and today we're talking about Flying Geese. And I need to match my navy, so give me a hot minute to match navies over here. Hey Terry, I have a tutorial about string blocks. There's a link to it in the pattern, and it's stringandstory.com/blog/ I think it's string blocks. It was part of the summer stash busting challenge. So if you go to my blog, and in the sidebar there's a link to the summer stash busting index. There's a link from there if I didn't have the URL right. So I have a video tutorial on there, super easy. It's also a wonderful introduction to foundation paper piecing, kind of the basic principles of foundation paper piecing. So if you've never done that before, it's a great place to get started, and it uses up strings. I did not mention this before. It is mentioned, I know it's mentioned in the pattern. I don't remember if I put it on the listing, which I should probably add it if I didn't. Aldebaran's also fat quarter friendly. So if you cut your pieces out of a fat quarter, 1 fat quarter per full block, it comes out about, and I'm not entirely sure if you need extra fat quarters as you get into the larger sizes. So disclaimer. But for the throw size, it comes out almost perfectly that if you use 1 fat quarter per full block, that the leftovers from cutting out your main pieces are just right for cutting your setting triangles and your strings. So just if you have a fat quarter bundle, you'll need very little additional fabric. So hopefully that's a good tip. Aldebaran's the Eye of Taurus. Deborah, thank you. First of all, whoa, Deborah, thank you for reminding me. You won, by the way, last week, if you didn't see that in the caption of this video. And if you haven't answered the question of the week in the caption of this video, you should do that, because you might win next week. I'm giving away a second copy of the Aldebaran quilt pattern. Deborah, if you already have the quilt pattern, go to my shop and pick out a different quilt pattern that you want, and I'll send you any one of my patterns that you don't have. And Eye of Taurus, much more succinct way to explain it. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm still learning about this asterism. It's been very fun. That's been a fun kind of side project for me as I've been designing these quilts. Y'all, this is always the hard part. I think I'm gonna go dark navy today. Okay. Put my light back out of the way. And Deborah, I don't remember if I said, just email me, stringandstory@gmail.com. Friendly reminder to take a moment and clean out your bobbin casing if you have not done that yet and you're quilting along with me on any project of your choosing, or if you're quilting along with me on your Moda Bake Shop quilt. I just remember that I have not cleaned mine all week, so I'm going to take a second to do that before we continue quilting on these Flying Geese. Now, Flying Geese, the blog this week was about Flying Geese and bow tie blocks, which Kristen, dear Kristen SR, I saw you tuned in at least a second ago. I don't know if you're still here. Kristen, give a wave if you're still here. These were Kristen's blocks. Kristen, you were the bow tie too, right? I think you are. So this cute little bow tie and these Flying Geese were Kristen's blocks during the Moda Bake Shop quilt along this summer, and y'all know I love Kristen. So Oh, I'm dropping things, guys. Where did my bobbin go? Hang on, I'm gonna dive under the table. No, like legit, where did it go? Well, that's a bummer. Oh, maybe it didn't actually hit the ground. Hang on. I have this like, oh, no. Whale? That bobbin will probably show up in about a year. Fortunately, I have another, at least partial one here of the same color. It'll get me started. Y'all know I love Kristen. So I jumped in on this quilt along because she was one of the designers. I love flying geese. I paper piece my flying geese as a general rule. Which I'm trying to remember if I stuck a PDF of the template I used somewhere. I don't remember if I did or not. There's Kristen. I see your wave, Kristen. Always remember, brush lint out of your bobbin casing. Don't blow it into your bobbin casing. We don't want it to migrate over towards our electronics or anything like that. So the bow ties and the flying geese are a little bit different than some of the other traditional blocks we've covered in this series because they are blocks where I like to keep the shape of the block. So when we talked about granny squares, when we talked about 4 patches and 9 patches, I talked a lot about ways to ignore your seam lines and create secondary designs with your quilting. This week, most of my quilting patterns were about preserving the directionality of that arrow in the flying geese and the shape of the bow tie within the bow tie. Which is, it's a little different than I typically do my quilting, and it was a fun exercise in that regard and a fun way to see how I could add variety without losing that key shape. Now, on my quilt today, as we are quilting together, I'm going to do some simple switchbacks in the background of these flying geese. I'm not going to get fancy with them. I set these bright colors on a navy background, and I don't want, first of all, I don't want to change colors with every single goose in order to match thread so as not to muddy my colors. But second, I just really want them to pop. These are fairly small flying geese. They finish at 2 inches by 4 inches. And it's a great opportunity to just let that center section shine. The handy thing about switchbacks too is because they kind of bump up against the seams of your piecing when you're quilting with them. I'm really bummed that I don't know where that bobbin went, guys. That like really is gonna bug me. Oh, I heard it. Hang on. Well, maybe I heard it. Oh well. Because the switchbacks bump up against your seams when you're quilting, they kind of naturally stitch in the ditch for you, and you don't have to go back and do it in order to get a nice puffy effect. So that's very, very handy. All right, I'm seeing, good morning, Ellen. Oh, Ellen and Kristen, y'all can wave at each other. You're both in California. All right, get my foot on here. Got my bobbin casing all cleaned out. Hopefully that goofy navy bobbin that ran off will show up eventually. What a bummer. It was a full bobbin too, guys. Now I'm probably going to end up having to wind a bobbin halfway through. Alright. The other fun thing about this series that we've been doing together is that it's a bit of an exercise in manhandling a large quilt on a domestic machine, which Sue was in my class last weekend over at Red Hem. We did Intro to Free Motion Quilting, and we talked about this a little bit. So now, Sue, you get to actually watch me shove this giant quilt through my machine. Alright, raising my threads up. Now, this is a new bobbin. Well, I changed out my bobbin in my machine. So I'm going to go grab a practice sandwich, and we're going to test our tension before we get going. All right, I couldn't resist looking for that bobbin one more time. Man, it just like vanished into the netherworld, y'all. Make sure it's not under my machine. Nope. Okay. Well, like I said, it's going to bug me. All right, remember, always, always, always test your tension before you get started. I know it takes a minute. I know it feels like a pain in the butt. It's worth it to not have to spend hours unpicking later. My pedal's way off in the netherworld over here from yesterday's videoing. I'm gonna bring my stitch length down a little bit. All right, bring my light back over here so I can see real good. This is, oh, now my light's unplugged. This is a Daylight Slimline. If you go to stringandstory.com/Amazon picks, you can see all my favorite products and tools and all that good stuff, and that includes this light. I consider this light to be like nothing short of absolutely essential. Man, I'm really needing to like tighten up my tension today. That's funky. All right, let's try again. I consider this to be absolutely essential. You may have noticed I pulled it over and flicked it on when I was matching my threads. I do not choose fabric and thread without putting it under my Daylight because the color spectrum on this light is so wonderful. Oh, now we're too tight. How fascinating. All right, try again. Let me go just a little bit longer with this. I want to make sure that I'm all... Oh, I'm not doing anything neat though, Christina. Like, I'm quilting fast, but it's sloppy because I'm just checking my tension. You'll notice I'm doing things like swirls and loops because tension issues are most likely to show up on curves and points. Points, there you go. I think we're good. Okay. You'll notice I slow down a lot when I get a big old quilt underneath here. And I'm actually being careful about what I'm doing. All right, let's feed this monster under here. Now, y'all know I like my quilts to run uphill because that means that as I quilt, it gets easier to manhandle this beast because I get more and more of it out of my lap. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with my bow tie block yet, so I'm actually not going to start at my bow tie block. I'm going to start with the geese. So you can see I'm holding a lot of this quilt in my lap right now, but as I quilt, more and more of it is going to land up on that table and it'll get easier to deal with. I'm going to drop my needle down in a seam. And I hope y'all can see what I'm doing at least a little bit. So I'm simply tugging on the top thread to pop my bobbin thread up so I can hold them out of the way. By the way, I should have mentioned this while I was adjusting tension. If you didn't notice, always raise your presser foot when you're adjusting your tension. So that disengages the tension disc so you can adjust them and then re-engage them when you lower your foot. So if you didn't notice me doing that, friendly reminder. Here's the corner. Here's the edge. It's up out of the way. Thank you for checking though. That's when you pull your quilt through, make sure you don't get it all rolled up underneath itself or you might end up sewing your quilt to itself. Ask me how I know. All right, and then all this is down in my lap. Think we're good. Watch your top corner. Oh good, we all spotted that. See, many eyes. This is the real reason I quilt on camera, guys, because you help me not be stupid. It's true though. What would I do without you guys? All right. Here we go. Now, switchbacks. So we did switchbacks last week as part of Intro to Free Motion Quilting. If you're new to this series, then you know that the quilting plans I've been publishing on my blog are written at 3 levels. So there's an intro level, which includes the 4 motifs that are in my free Intro to Free Motion Quilting online class. And those are swirls, switchbacks, meander, loopy meander, and walking foot lines. And Sue, you'll recognize that list because we did those free motion motifs last weekend at Andy's. And then the moderate level uses the 10 motifs from my beginner free motion quilting. So add smoky swirls, ribbon candy, pebbles, square spirals, wood grain. Oh shoot, I need one more. Which one am I? Paisleys. Can't believe I almost forgot Paisleys. So the moderate level uses those 10 plus walking foot lines. And then the Rockstar level, all bets are off. So that's a lot of feathers is what that comes down to. And weird variations of things all fall under the Rockstar category. So if you're quilting traditional blocks, whether it's this quilt or any other quilt, and you're brand new to free motion quilting, you can go on there and just look at the introductory level. I don't know if that says turmeric or terrific. I think it says turmeric. Okay, sorry, I just got a text and I was like, turmeric? Why are we talking about turmeric? But we're talking about a lentil recipe. Anyway, I have digressed. So you can go on this blog series, How to Quilt Traditional Blocks, and go to the intro level if you need ideas for just how to get started as a baby beginner. If you're a more confident beginner moving into an intermediate level quilter, then you can go to the moderate level. And if you're crazy like me and some of the other rock stars, then you can use the Rockstar level. Hey Denise, we'll see you later, okay? Tune in tonight if you get a chance. Christine, you too. Oh my gosh. Oh, y'all, you're cracking me up. I just love it. So I'm doing an intro level motif today because I like to change it up, especially on a quilt like this with a medallion, where I'm doing something more complicated. So I had a lot of feathers here in the center, and then I did simple switchbacks in the background of these 9 patches. Then I did some feathers, and then I did a mix, continuous curves and feathers. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do here. I will probably do either ribbon candy or little, I've been having the cursive L's, wishbones. I've been having the hardest time with the name of that motif lately. And then I'm doing simple switchbacks in my flying geese. So I'm changing it up with each round because that's going to keep the quilt visually interesting. If I use a Rockstar level motif in every single round, I run the risk of it getting just too much for my eyeball to handle. It may not. If you are super skillful with your quilting plan, you could do that. But I just choose to go full force, back off a little. Go full force, back off a little. And it just keeps things changed up a bit. Crazy like a rock star. It's so true. We're like the headbangers of free motion quilting, Lydia. Somebody please quote me on that. That was hilarious. Yes, I do laugh at my own jokes. Sorry, y'all. All right. More switchbacks. Another reason I'm enjoying doing switchbacks for this round is because I'm so darn proud of these geese. I mean, I told you I paper pieced them, which takes time. I don't know that it necessarily takes more time than traditional piecing when it comes to flying geese. But they look so pretty and I want to show them off. So that's part of my decision to do switchbacks. Switchbacks are also easy because I can jump through the seam lines. So what I'm doing is I'm doing switchbacks, in the navy, hop at the point in the seam, and then do it on the other side, hop at this point, and continue on. So I can do all the way, well, in this case, I'll just be going till my bobbin runs out. But if my bobbin were theoretically long enough, which someone posted about that in Quilting Rockstars this week, that we need a sewing machine with a spool on the bottom. Hallelujah, amen to that. But theoretically, if my bobbin didn't run out, I could go all the way around this quilt without ever breaking thread. Talk about efficient quilting. Like, that is my idea of a party right there. Beginner to intermediate level, absolutely perfect. I love that, Christine. Oh, I love this already, guys. I've got a new kind of obsession with switchbacks and what I can do with them as a background fill. Some people would consider using like a micro stipple, which is basically a really, really tiny meander for this. But I kind of like the ease and directionality of switchbacks. I don't have to think too much about if I'm gonna get stuck or anything like that. Oh, Christine, I'm so glad to hear that. Teaching is definitely my favorite thing. My favorite thing. Which, speaking of that, the Aldebaran quilt pattern, y'all, it's 22 pages long. Because there was just so many things I wanted to include, so many tips. And honestly, there was more I could have included. And I finally just had to start putting links to tutorials that I've done. I've been like, go look at this tutorial, and then go look at this tutorial. Because I just love making sure that all the information is there and available so that you succeed. It makes me so happy. All right. No, and Sue, I will break thread and show you up close in a minute exactly how it's going. But I'm just filling in the navy around the goose. I never really know which part is supposed to be the goose. I always called the center triangle the goose. So I'm just doing the navy and I'm leaving that center triangle out to shine. And I'll hold it up in a minute. Hey Vicki, how are you, friend? I feel like it's a lot colder in Michigan already. What's the temperature up there right now, Vicki? It's still like 90 here, so. Apricot, deep orange, copper, and dark navy. Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, when you get those fabrics pulled, put a picture in the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group, and if you're on Instagram, put on Instagram and tag me. Sidebar, if you're on Instagram and you're picking fabric for the Aldebaran quilt, post a picture in your feed and tag me and I'll share it to my stories. It'd be so exciting. 35, whoa, I'm sorry, what? 60, burr. I don't think I want it quite that cold yet. Oh my gosh. Look at all the fluff in there. Woo! Yeah. Dust kangaroos. Oh my gosh. 30. Y'all. We checked the temperature last night and we were so excited that it got down like under 80 so we could turn the house fan on. Because Hubster wants it to be like a 7. Oh, and look, there goes my bobbin. Well, you were asking for me to show you up close. I wasn't going to show you quite this soon, but that works. But we were just so excited that it got cool enough to turn on the house fan. That's crazy, you guys. Sorry, I know all you can see is the part in my hair, but I'm having to pull back enough thread that I can bury this later. Oh, shoot, I can't see. Hang on. I feel like a dentist when I do that, you know, like let me pull the light over and look up close at all your teeth. Oh, shoot. Okay, we're good. I thought it had nodded for a second, and I was like, no, please don't make this complicated. Almost there. So I always go ahead and pick back as soon as my bobbin runs out until I've got enough of a tail to tie a knot and bury that thread. All right, now let me pull this out, and I will come up close for you guys. Tina, yes, okay. stringandstory.com/Amazon picks, and you'll find a link. It's the best light. I'm freaking obsessed. I own 3, if that gives you any idea how much I love it. All right. My dears, if you get motion sick, close your eyes for a moment because I'm going to turn you. Oh, now I'm about to drop you guys off the table. Please don't fall off the table. Okay. Hopefully, I don't know if there will be enough light for y'all to really see this. Let me bring this light over. I want to give you guys some like shadows so you can see the stitching. Because I did a good job matching my thread. I guess, you know, I guess that's exciting. Okay. Here we go. Can y'all see the shadows of the switchbacks here? So they're just in the background, and the effect from a distance, I'm trying to keep this folded so you can just see the ones that I've done because it'll make it easier to kind of see what's up. But the effect from a distance is that those triangles are going to continue to puff. And right now, they're going to look a little like, oh, did she forget to quilt that? But as soon as I wash this, Yes, Tina, I'll flip it over in just a second. As soon as I wash this, this will shrink up enough to just be puffy and beautiful. All right, here comes the back. So you can see it's just the little V bits, right? All right, let me go wind a bobbin and we will carry on. Close your eyes if you get motion sick. All right, you're good. I always try to give you guys at least a little bit of a heads up before I move the camera, because my mom is super sensitive to stuff like that, and she would be struggling if she was watching something and the camera was moving around. Okay. Backside. Yes, okay. I gave you guys the link here. I'm gonna put it in the comments. You could sew. I don't see why not. The reason I chose them to do them long like this is because it continues that like line of the geese. Hey Sue, other Sue Paget, welcome, welcome. All right, well, since we're talking about the backside of our quilts, I haven't done all the granny squares yet, so you'll only get to see some of the texture. But you can see some of the backside of this quilt. Let me see if I can hold it up enough that you can see the feathers down in the center. Can you see those? Okay, hopefully you guys can see some of that. I was kind of nervous that I was doing a solid back for this quilt, because I'm doing so much quilting, and I was like, there's going to be so much margin of error on this. But I'm loving it. I'm loving being able to see all the different motifs that I've used. All right. And since that bobbin ran away, get that out of the way again. Sorry, I feel like that causes like the worst glare when it's over here, so I try not to use it when I'm with you guys if I can help it. Oh, thanks, Sue. Thanks, Lori. Yay! Lori, I'm glad you're here. Here we go. Winding, winding. I never know if I can like talk over this or Rhoda's nothing. Yes, when you get them nice and tight together, Rhoda, it definitely helps. Also, I prefer to do switchbacks in like 3 inches or less. If I get a whole lot bigger than 3 inches, I lose control of them. There are rare exceptions. I've done a couple of 4-inch borders on the long arm, and that was okay, but visibility is a little bit better on the long arm than on the domestic. And I find on my domestic, I just have a hard time seeing what I'm doing enough to not get all wobbly and kind of off course, right? Get this rethreaded, and we'll do a few more before we wrap it up for the morning. But no worries, we'll be back together tonight. Different quilt, same place. Gotta get all my threads out of the way and in order. Watching too much, so moving onto the sofa instead of sewing yourself, Lynn. I love that. Oh yeah, Tina, that's exactly what it's for. Now where did I put my practice sandwich? Here we go. I'm going to continue to be a good example, and I'm going to test my tension again because it's a new bobbin. This machine, I'm on the Eversewn Sparrow 30. Y'all know this is a new to me machine. I've had it for about a month and a half now. I really like it. It's a great little machine. This machine has a manual tension, meaning that I adjust it with a knob up here instead of with buttons on the front. So my tension does not usually change a whole lot from one bobbin to another. If I've done some piecing and I've come back or it's been a while, sometimes it shifts. But on the whole, I've found that this machine holds its tension pretty well. think I'm gonna tighten it up just a smudge though. All right. But it's still best to check it because we don't want to go, oh, it's fine, and then realize, oh, whoops, and then realize, you know, an hour of quilting later that it was not indeed fine, right? Sam, I don't see why not, especially if you're familiar with piecing triangles from a 60-degree ruler. I didn't have a 60-degree ruler, and I knew how the tri-rex would go together, so that's what I used. I would suggest making a sample block to make sure that everything lines up nice and evenly, and you'll probably still need to follow the same principle of like flipping your triangles as you go, if that makes sense. Yay, Lydia! Sue, new one coming in October. Yes, you can hear me. What's new that's coming in October? Sue? I probably mentioned something and now I'm not remembering. Yes, 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight for the next live of the day. That'll be String and Story Social Hour, which that happens every Friday night. But due to illness and technology and all the things, we get to have 2 lives together today, which is very fun. All right, got my threads pulled up. I will bury those later. You've got a new, oh, the new Eversewn that's coming out. Yes, the Eversewn Quilters Edition is coming out next month. I'm super excited about it. I have no intention of getting one next month unless Eversewn wants to call me. But I'm really pumped about it. It's supposed to be bigger, have a nice big harp space. I can't wait to see it. It's gonna be great. Posture check, everybody. Make sure that your body is straight, that your shoulders are down, that you're sitting up on your sit bones and not back on your tailbone. I have like fuzz that's stuck under here. Where did that come from? Must be from the batting of something. Yeah, Sue, everything I've heard about it is that it's gonna be an awesome machine. I've been really impressed with the Eversewn lines. They have an embroidery machine out. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a, I mean, it's like a straight up embroidery machine with hoop and everything. And it's like $650 or something. Like, it's so accessible because embroidery machines can be so expensive. So it's a great little like introduction to embroidery machine. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Yay, Lydia! How many on Ringo Lake blocks do you have left? I'm already getting excited for Bonnie's mystery requirements to come out, not gonna lie. Because I missed on Ringo Lake because life was chaos. Catch tonight on replay. Oh, you're gonna, oh, Lynn, that's so special. I love that you're doing that tomorrow. And it'll be well worth catching tonight on replay to be awake and alert for that. I love it. Now, with switchbacks, because you're having to be very precise as you move back and forth, I find that I tend to carry a lot of tension in my elbows and in my shoulders. So I end up quilting like this because I don't want to wobble. But as much as you can, encourage those shoulders to drop down and try to keep your arms loose. Okay? This is a motif where quilting with your feed dogs, I think, really helps. They offer some nice back and forth guidance to your quilt. But that's a personal preference thing, you know? Try quilting with your feed dogs up, try quilting with them down. It's totally up to you. Pro tip, if you've never dropped your feed dogs, this happened to me last weekend, When you go to raise them back up, you have to switch the little lever to raise them back up, and then you have to turn your hand crank a full rotation to bring them back up. If you just switch the lever, they don't come up, and it might cause panic of like, oh my gosh, I broke it. Yes, I did this during class last weekend. Andy came over and was like, just turn this, HollyAnne. I was like, thanks. You have more than 30 done. Wow, wow. Hey, Janet! I'm so glad you're here. I feel like I might be behind on... Sam, did you hear me answer about the 60-degree ruler? I think so. I talked about that just a second ago. And I would recommend making a test block. And feel free to DM me if you want to like make a test block and take pics, and DM me, and we can troubleshoot it if it needs some tweaking from the original pattern. But do that in a DM with me, as far as asking questions. Okay, that would be awesome. And then if it does work, I can include a note for everyone else to know. Oh, Vicky, I'm so glad. Did the checklist help? Did you figure out your tension problems? I have like a crazy troubleshooting list that I use. I'm going through all the things. Which sometimes, I don't remember if I told you this last week, Sue. So Sue sews on a Quantum Stylus 9960, which is what I had before this Eversewn. A great machine, by the way. And also, Sue, I don't think I did this with you when we were working on your tension. But sometimes just turn it off and turn it on again. As I mentioned to you last week, the one drawback I found with the Quantum Stylus is that because it's computerized tension, sometimes it's persnickety. And sometimes you just have to turn it off and turn it on again and give it a little reset. And it's working. Yay, Lynn. Okay, so 60-degree triangles work. Perfect. Essentially, what you're doing with a Tri-Rex, the Tri for the Aldebaran quilt, is it's a 60-degree triangle with one dog ear cut off. And I like the guide of helping me line up my pieces with each other. But it's not required, obviously. So, yay, Christy. It's a quick pattern. I'm just saying, you might get sucked in. It comes together nice and quick. It's a fun one. Gonna do just a couple of more, and then I will hold this up for you guys one more time before we wrap up for the day. I am so glad, by the way, Lynn, that you are able to find a die that works so that you can quilt with us. That is just so exciting. I'm so excited for you to be part of this quilt along. Your first ever quilt along, Lynn. I'm so honored. Oh my gosh. That makes me feel so special. Oh my gosh, I'm just pleased as punch. I just can't even. What a treat to get to be part of your first ever quilt along. Oh my gosh. Oh, that makes me so happy. Huzzah. So you notice I've raised my needle, I've raised my presser foot. I'm gonna gently drag the quilt several inches away. Gently, you don't wanna break that thread. And then I'm just gonna pop my bobbin thread up with my seam ripper, pull them both out till they're several inches long, and snip them. Christine, it's your first too? Oh my gosh, guys. Y'all just make me feel so special. I love it. I love it, I love it. All right, hopefully y'all will be able to see the puff. I can see the puff. Can you guys see the puff? I don't know if you can see the puff. I wonder if I hold it like this, if you guys can see the puff. Can you see that puff? If I like tilt it so it gets the light. So I did these today, and from my angle, and this just may not show up well on camera, I can see how I've now flattened out the background and allowed those center geese, I'm just gonna refer to those as the geese, sorry guys, allowed them to pop up. I'm super pumped, man, that like, whew, that has me excited to keep going on this quilt. I have a lot of catch up to do on this. And then you can see the back. Which, did I miss a side? No, which is the light. Here we go. All right, my dears, thank you for joining me for this little demo today. As always, there are lots of quilting plans over at stringandstory.com/blog/flyinggeese. There's a link to that in the caption of the video. Speaking of the caption of the video, if you have not already, do please answer the question of the week. This week I asked whether or not you'll be joining us for the Aldebaran Quilt Along, and if you are, what colors you're planning on using. And by answering that question of the week, you are entered to win a free copy of the Aldebaran pattern next week, and I'll announce the winner during next week's video, which will hopefully be back on Thursday as regularly scheduled. So this was super fun because I got to show you guys Aldebaran. If you joined late, here is the Aldebaran reveal. The full pattern dropped today. This is the throw size. The pattern also includes twin and queen and king sized instructions. It includes assembly directions using straight seams or Y seams. The Y seams are optional. And we're doing a quilt along inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group starting next Friday. Please come join us. I'm so freaking pumped about it. Other things I need to tell you guys. Make sure you check out this week's blog. Yay, you can see the puff. That's so exciting. You'll be doing Aldebaran. Yay. And if you have not already, post your fabric pull inside the Quilting Rockstars Facebook group. There's also a link to the Facebook group inside the caption of this video. If you've not joined already, I'd love to have you come join. All I ask is that you be a quilter and that you please answer the questions. When you click join the group, you'll be asked 2 questions. Whether or not you've registered for Intro to Free Motion Quilting, there's not a right or a wrong answer. I just want to make sure you know that that class exists and what you would like to learn about quilting in the next year. So you have to be a quilter, you've got to be nice and a lovely human. We don't do criticism or any of that icky stuff inside the group. And it's just a place to be encouraging. So if you're new here today, and I know we have some new faces, and you're like, man, she really seems to know these folks, that's because they're part of my Quilting Rockstars. And so I hang out with them in that group all week, every week. We'll be hanging out tonight inside the Facebook group at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I would love to see you there. We'll be continuing to quilt along on Lanterns of Hope, which is another pattern of mine. It was our last quilt along. I'm behind on the quilting, so I'm gonna play catch up tonight before we start a new quilt along next week. It's always a fun time. Bring your own snack, bring your own beverage, adult or otherwise. I hope I'll see you guys there. I'll see you guys back here next week. If you've enjoyed today, if you're excited about Aldebaran, if you love quilting, whatever your reason is, please hit share on this video to share it with your other quilting friends so that we can bring more people into our party. This is really nothing but a party, let's be honest. I love being here with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you tonight, and then I'll see you next week. Have a great Friday, everybody.